He didn't lose his life in a single dramatic moment. He lost it quietly, one small decision at a time, until one day he realized he didn't recognize himself anymore. Ethan Miller was the kind of man people trusted without thinking about it. Mid-30s, clean reputation, steady job, calm voice. The type who paid bills on time, returned shopping carts, and remembered birthdays. From the outside, his life looked fine. Not impressive, not tragic, just stable. He worked as a project coordinator for a mid-sized company in Ohio. The pay wasn't exciting, but it was safe. He lived in a modest apartment, drove a reliable car, and followed a predictable routine. Wake up, coffee, commute, work, dinner, sleep. And for a long time, Ethan believed that stability was the same as happiness. What most people didn't know was how tired he felt. Not physically, mentally. Every day felt like a repeat of the last, and somewhere deep inside, a quiet voice kept asking, "Is this really it?" But Ethan had learned something early in life. Don't cause trouble, don't rock the boat, don't risk what you already have. His parents had struggled financially. Safety mattered, security mattered. So when that voice appeared, he ignored it. He told himself that wanting more was childish, that ambition was overrated, that being content meant staying put. And that belief led him to a moment that would quietly shape everything that followed. It came in the form of an email. Late one Tuesday afternoon, Ethan received a message from an old college friend named Marcus. They hadn't spoken in years, but Marcus remembered something Ethan had nearly forgotten about himself. In college, Ethan had been creative, curious. He had loved writing, storytelling, ideas. Marcus now worked at a growing digital media startup and was offering Ethan a chance to join. Nothing guaranteed, but a real opportunity to try something different. The message ended with a simple line. "You always talked about doing more than surviving. Thought you might want a shot." Ethan stared at the screen for a long time. His heart beat a little faster. His mind raced. What if this worked? What if he actually liked his life? But then the fear arrived. The startup wasn't stable. The salary would be lower at first. There were risks, unknowns, no guarantees. That night, Ethan didn't tell anyone about the email. He didn't talk it through. He didn't explore it deeply. He made a quiet decision instead. Not now, he told himself. Maybe later. He archived the email. No drama, no argument, no announcement. Just one small, silent choice. To stay where he was. And at the time, it felt responsible. Life didn't fall apart immediately. In fact, nothing changed at all. Ethan kept going to work. He kept smiling politely in meetings. He kept telling himself he had made the mature choice. But something subtle shifted inside him. Whenever work felt boring, he reminded himself it was safe. Whenever a weekend felt empty, he said that rest was normal. Whenever he felt envy watching others chase dreams, he labeled it unrealistic thinking. Months passed, then years. Marcus's startup grew, not explosively, but steadily. Ethan followed from a distance, scrolling through updates late at night. Each time, a small discomfort surfaced. Not jealousy, regret. But regret is easy to ignore when it's quiet. Then another opportunity appeared, this time inside his own company. A leadership role opened up. It required visibility, accountability, and decision-making. Ethan was qualified, but again the same fear whispered. What if you fail? What if people expect more? So he declined, telling his manager he preferred where he was. That's when the pattern formed. Ethan wasn't just avoiding risk anymore, he was avoiding himself. By his early 40s, Ethan's life had become extremely quiet. Too quiet. Friends drifted away, not because of conflict, but because Ethan never initiated plans. Dating felt exhausting, so he stopped trying. New experiences felt uncomfortable, so he avoided them. He told himself he was introverted, low maintenance, independent. But late at night, the truth crept in. He felt invisible. At work, younger employees passed him by. Not because they were better, but because they were willing to step forward. Ethan became reliable, which slowly turned into forgettable. No one blamed him, No one criticized him. That was the worst part. Nothing bad had happened, yet his life felt smaller every year. The quiet decision he had made years ago had multiplied into hundreds of tiny ones. Saying no instead of trying, staying silent instead of speaking up, choosing comfort instead of growth. None of them were wrong on their own, but together they built a cage. One evening, while cleaning out old files, Ethan found the archived email from Marcus. He reread it slowly. The words hit differently now. "You always talked about doing more than surviving." Ethan realized something painful. He hadn't failed at life. He had avoided it. Regret doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Ethan began replaying moments, not with anger, but with sadness. All the times he had chosen later and watched later turn into never. The hardest part wasn't the missed opportunities. It was the version of himself he never allowed to exist. Psychologists often talk about regret not as a reaction to mistakes, but to inaction. Ethan felt that deeply. He hadn't made bold errors, he had made quiet withdrawals from his own potential. And those withdrawals added up. His confidence eroded slowly. His curiosity faded. His world shrank. Not because life was cruel, but because he had stopped choosing. Ethan's story teaches a subtle but powerful truth. The most dangerous decisions aren't always loud or dramatic. They are the quiet ones that feel safe in the moment. Choosing comfort over growth once may protect you. Choosing it repeatedly can erase you. Avoiding risk doesn't guarantee peace. It often guarantees regret. Life rarely collapses overnight. More often, it fades, slowly, silently, while we convince ourselves everything is fine. Ethan learned that responsibility without self-honesty becomes self-betrayal, and that stability without meaning becomes a prison. Ethan didn't lose his life because he made a terrible choice. He lost it because he kept making the same quiet one. So here's a question worth sitting with. Is there a decision you're avoiding right now, not because it's wrong, but because it's uncomfortable? Because sometimes the life that slips away isn't taken from us. We quietly hand it over, one safe choice at a time.